Yo, what's up? Joshua Casper here with another Ableton Live video tutorial. I had this great idea of putting 8 one-knob DJ and performance effects inside of one audio effects rack. So that way we'll have 8 different really super cool things inside of one rack, so when we go out and perform, it's all right there. And we can adjust the settings to, kind of set it up the best for our type of performance. But then it's just there, ready to go. And it's very easy to use because we have 8 badass effects inside of one rack. So what I'm going to do is put out 8 tutorials on how to make each one of these one knob type effects. And this first one is going to be a grain delay. And I've got this track I'm working on with a friend of mine. And I'm just going to show you what the one knob effect does to the track. So here we go. So as you can see, it's just kind of this cool grainy kind of effect, and there's a filter on there to kind of wash out the sub end so you don't get any crazy kind of panning on the sub end of any track that you're playing and whatnot. And it's pretty cool, it's pretty useful. There's some reverb on there and stuff like that. If we go ahead and look inside the chain here, we can see we've got the audio filter, we've got the grain, and then we have some reverb. So let's just go ahead and make this. What I'm going to do is go ahead and save it first, just so it's there in case I mess it all up. I'm going to overwrite it. Yes. Okay, sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this now that it's saved. I just got this EQ on there because this track isn't mastered or anything. Like I said, it's a work in progress, so I just had to roll off some of the low end there. And we're going to come into audio effects. We're going to grab an audio effects rack, drop it on here, open that up, and the first thing I'm going to do is put an auto filter on here. I want my macros, and I'm going to turn it to this setting, and I'm going to take the frequency and map it to macro 1, and I'm also going to take the on-off and map that to macro 1 as well. Come into map mode. On-off up here, I'm going to change to 1 to 0, and what that does is now when I come up, it's off when it's all the way down here, and then when I turn it to the right, the device comes back on. And as you can see, it's going to start rolling things off. Also come in and just kind of bring the frequency down, the max frequency. I don't know, so about here, because we don't need any serious S-ing going on, you know what I mean, when we crank it all the way up. And that's pretty sweet. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is come in and take a grain delay and drop it on here. I'm going to take the frequency and just hit 0, and it's going to pull it down to 1 hertz down here, which is where I want it. I'm going to take the feedback and put it up to about 45%. And then I'm going to map the dry wet here to macro 1. And I'm also going to put it on 1 down here with the sync here. And I'm also going to map the on-off to macro 1 as well. Come in and just make sure my device on is 1, 0. And that should do something cool. Let's check that out. Which is already pretty cool, but what I found is that if you put a little bit of reverb on there, it actually sounds a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do is come into the reverb, and I'm just going to take bright reflections, put that on here, and then take the dry wet and map that to macro 1 as well as the on-off. It's very important to get the on-off on all of these because when you're in the performance, you don't want them on at all. You just want them off until you're going to be cranking the knob. You know what I'm saying? So come into the map again and hit 1, 0 to make sure it's off until you turn it to the right. And then we only need about, I don't know, up to 40% or something like that. Let's see what that sounds like. Sweet. Let's put it up 40. I just like a nice even number there. And then one thing I always do as well, it's just kind of it's not really necessary, but I like to put a limiter on it just in case something goes wrong. You don't want anything to get too crazy out there on the dance floor, you know what I'm saying? So that looks about right. Let's go ahead and just run this and see what it sounds like. Sweet. And now that you've followed along and you know what's going on, it's not that difficult to come in here and change certain things. Maybe if you want more feedback, or if you want to get really crazy with some of the grain delay effects inside of here, you can. But I wanted to have a tamed down version for you guys, because I think it's really useful the way it is, just to kind of add some variation to the music and turn in knobs to make it look like you're actually doing work up there. But anyway, I hope that helps, and hopefully I can release one of these a week, I'm thinking, so we can get, for the next 8 weeks, so we can fill up one audio effect rack with 8 different one-knobbable effects for your DJ and performance sets. But anyway, as always, free download on the website if you want to just go grab it, and we will see you next time. Peace.